Nissan's little Juke crossover took its first step into the electrified era with this hybrid variant back in 2022, and here that car's been usefully updated. Compared to the ordinary version, you get both more power and greater efficiency, though with a considerably higher price tag.
This Juke hybrid, with power boosted to 143 PS, looks a much more sophisticated proposition than its standard stablemate. Too sophisticated, you might think, with 3 hybrid modes and for its auto gearbox, 4 combustion gears and 2 EV ones. As that complexity might suggest, it's a full hybrid system, unlike the more ineffectual mild hybrid setups offered on most other small SUVs, which have much smaller drive batteries. Drive this Nissan in a way that few typical owners ever would, and you'll find that, aided by decently responsive steering, it hangs on tenaciously through the turns, if not quite Ford Puma-like, certainly in a way that makes most other segment rivals feel compromised and bland. We should point out, though, that Nissan has had to adopt a pretty stiff suspension setup to make it all work. This hybrid is fractionally quicker than its conventionally engined stablemate, something effectively disguised by the languid and quite lethargic nature of the power delivery. 62 miles an hour takes 10.1 seconds en route to just 103 miles an hour. This hybrid, as we said, uses a very sophisticated power plant, though not as sophisticated as the e-power setup Nissan uses in its larger Qashqai, a much more efficient powertrain that we wish had been engineered for this Juke. As it is, the Juke hybrid pairs a 94 PS 1.6 litre combustion unit with a 20 PS starter generator and a 49 PS electric motor mounted within a 4-speed multimodal auto gearbox, which manages both power sources. This car's close cousin, the Renault Captur hybrid, uses the same setup, but what's different about its installation in the Juke is the further inclusion of something rarely seen in a hybrid, this Nissan's e-pedal function, which increases regenerative braking to the point where the car can slow right down to 5 miles an hour when you come off the throttle. It also improves water cooling for the compact 1.2 kilowatt-hour battery, which always powers the car from start off and can take you up to 34 miles an hour without troubling fossil fuel if you activate this EV button between the seats. Once you crest the EV speed barrier, the powertrain switches into series hybrid mode, where the engine charges the battery. Great for urban driving. And at high speeds and under heavy acceleration, the whole setup reverts to parallel mode, in which both the e-motor and the engine drive the wheels. Nissan has had to tweak the springs and dampers to accommodate the hybrid system's extra 100 kilos of weight. Unless you count this bright new iconic yellow paint option, there are no exterior changes to this Juke as part of this mid-term update. So, as before, it does still look like either something dredged up from the abyssal depths of the ocean, or a fun, friendly and futuristic little runabout, depending on your perspective. Whichever camp you're in, you have to hand it to Nissan for not losing its resolve and watering this design down. Okay, let's take a look inside. Where it's a little more obvious that this is an updated version of the second generation Juke, primarily because of the improved screen tech. At 12.3 inches in size, the Nissan Connect Center touchscreen is nearly 50% larger than it was before. And on virtually all models, you now get a combimeter instrument screen of the same big size to replace the old analog dials. Other updates include a bigger 6.6 litre glove box, that's 29% larger than before, a redesigned, more supportive armrest, and the standardisation of a wireless charging pad on most models, which can take a smartphone as large as an iPhone 12 Pro Max. Plus, there are now both USB-A and USB-C ports. If you've stretched to a top variant like this N Sport model, what you're more likely to notice, though, is the more extrovert cabin trimming, though it doesn't have to be quite as extrovert as this. Midnight black, synthetic leather and various hues of Alcantara trim lift the cabin ambience to another level, completed by copious amounts of contrast stitching, which also features a cross upholstery, which, as part of the updates, swaps real leather for the artificial kind. Splashes of carbon fibre-esque trim add a finishing touch. Otherwise, this cabin is just as we remember it from when we first tried this F16 design back in 2020. A few of the motorcycle style touches of the earlier F15 era model are gone, but the cabin's of much higher quality than was served up by that original. And there are still some fun features like these eyeball style corner vents and a circular gear selector surround illuminated by ambient lighting, an idea borrowed from Mini. Right, let's take a look at the back. The rear doors, like those in the Toyota CHR, accessed via these high-set handles. The original F15 era Juke was very cramped indeed in the back, as we found in our original test of this F16 design back in 2020. An extra 105mm of wheelbase length has made a big difference to that, 58mm of legroom difference to be exact. But it's still rather on the cramped side back here, and the high belt line gives a somewhat claustrophobic feel that your kids might not like. They'll appreciate though the fact that there are both USB-A and USB-C ports back here. Okay, we'll finish with a look out the back, where the boot in the conventionally engined 1 litre model is 422 litres in size, a figure which falls to 354 litres in this hybrid variant. Nissan wants us to believe that this improved Juke hybrid gives you the advantages of EV motoring without the downsides. It doesn't quite work out like that, which is frustrating because using the e-power drivetrain from the larger Qashqai would have brought that grand objective a little closer to real-world reality. The slightly less sophisticated and more conventional 1.6 litre hybrid power plant that features here can't deliver e-power style efficiency, but it does have some extra features that other hybrids lack, notably the clever e-pedal brake regeneration system. This Juke's better to drive than most of its rivals too. We wish the price premium over the ordinary 1 litre model wasn't quite so great, but if you can stretch to it and you want a stepping stone in this class to full EV motoring, then this could be it.